are 2 weeks away from the go-home show for Full Gear.
We are, yeah.
We have 2 matches announced for this pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's about right. That's usually
No, this
where
is
we
malpractice, is what it
Okay,
is, Paul.
well.
It's everybody. Look, here's where the Fight Game Media Group jumps down my throat because old man Hawkins is talking.
I'm going to jump down your throat when you're done, but go ahead.
Well, that's fine. You can all you want.
All right.
Well, we actually do know the card. They just haven't announced it yet because you can see in the angles where they're doing this. Dude, we should be building up anticipation for the fight. And this feels like cramming. This show was a mess, Paul. This show was walking into a buffet when you're 8 and thinking you need to eat all the food. I said on Twitter that I thought that this was Tony trying to prove he could do both a McMahon and a Bischoff show at the same time. But it might be closer to a Russo type show is what this was, because this had all the things. And instead of going into a buffet and picking prime rib and lobster tail, you're hitting the bread, you're hitting the cheese, you're hitting the dessert bar, you're hitting everything at once because you're 11 and you never think that this time's going to come up again.
Yeah.
This show was a mess, Paul. I mean, I was enjoying the first hour of the show, and then second hour of the show, I realized this show is a mess.
Well, there was one big problem with this show that I noticed early, and it kept up through the whole show. We'll
as
get
a television show, possibly. I mean,
no, as a wrestling show.
Okay.
But as for your argument about Full Gear, there's one match you're buying the show for, and that's MJF and Moxley. Everything else in the show doesn't matter. So if they announce the whole card on the Wednesday before Dynamite, I don't think it matters one bit. If they announce 2 matches and then they give us 11 on Full Gear, it doesn't matter. People are buying the show for Jon Moxley and MJF, and that's it. There's nothing else that people are buying the show for. I don't think.
But that's more of an indictment of the company than it is.
No, that's wrestling. That's boxing. That's MMA. Oh. Like, you know, UFC, a big UFC show.
No, you can't pull this on for AEW because AEW is the 5-hour super card.
It is, but all that sells the show is the main event. And so people that buy an AEW show know I'm going to get 10 great matches. It doesn't matter who's in them. It's like buying an indie show.
I think that's bad practice.
It could be, but it works.
You should be building feuds on your undercard. I mean, really.
I agree, and they are
not just doing things.
I agree that they should, and I also think that they are. So whatever they announce on the Wednesday before Dynamite, or if it's next week, those matches are going to have been built. So whether or not they were officially announced, and I'm getting to what you said. Yeah, we know the card. That I'm not going to say that, but what I'm going to say is whatever they decide to do, if the card is, I think they're building to a 4-way with the tag team titles, which makes no sense because they just had a number 1 contenders match, but that's besides the point. They built a 4-way feud. They're going to deliver a 4-way feud. We're going to have a Orange Cassidy title defense that'll probably get built up in the next 2 weeks. That's fine. It doesn't matter.
Okay. You're mistaking angles with build.
Yeah. We're going to have Jericho and Claudio. That's, I mean, they've been kind of building to that. And then at the ROH pay-per-view, he'll probably have a bigger opponent for that show, would be my guess. We're going to have Wardlow and Hobbs. They haven't announced that yet, but they've been building to it. So I mean, there's matches there that they've been building to. Jade and Nyla, they haven't announced that yet, but that's happening. We all know it's happening. So
I get your point. They are building to the matches, but the build is...
The build is the more important thing than announcing the matches.
These feuds have no heat.
Well, that's a whole other issue.
Okay.
And whether they announce
that's what I mean by build. Okay. That's what I mean by build.
But whether they announce the matches or not, it's not going to change the heat.
No, not at this point. No, because you've had 3 months to do it, and now you're cramming.
This isn't 1985. Like it doesn't. It's not like we have Mean Gene in August telling you what the Survivor Series card is going to be, and every Saturday morning you're tuning in so you can see what's the next match, and now I'm excited. Like it's a different era.
It's a different era, but
and you're only buying the show for the main event, or you're buying it because you're an AEW fan and you're going to get a bunch of good matches. Like, that's it. Like, I think those are the two things. And what those great matches are, if they announce on the Rampage before Full Gear, which I actually think they probably will, that Death Triangle is facing the Elite for the trios titles, it doesn't matter if they announce it today or if they announce it the day before Full Gear. It doesn't matter. It's not going to sell one more buy, and it's not going to increase the anticipation for that match, because these AEW fans are going to get so, oh my god, the Elite are back. You know, like, it doesn't matter. I don't think. Like,
so I should just give up ever having a show that actually, cares about
for AEW, maybe. Yeah.
Possibly. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you know what?
I've never been more depressed than right
you know
now,
what?
Paul.
I mean, I was talking to Garrett about Crown Jewel, because I'm going to be doing a show with him after Crown Jewel, and we were trying to figure out how long the show is going to be. And I'm like, what matches are even on that show? Like, I knew 2 matches, and I watch every minute of WWE programming, including main event, including Level Up, and I couldn't come up with more than 3 matches. And then as I was really thinking about it, it kind of dawned on me. But the only match that sticks out is Roman Reigns and Logan Paul, and Bianca and Bayley. Those are the 2 matches that really stick out. The rest of them are like, as soon as he mentioned them, oh yeah, right, okay, they're doing that. And it's not like they haven't been building to them. It's just they don't matter. The only thing that matters is the main event.
Well, yeah, that's the way I'm getting with AEW. I don't.
Exactly.
I want things to matter, Paul. That's all I want.
No, and maybe it will. And they have in the past, but I guess this is what we got now.
Yeah.